All right, what's going on, brothers? Hopefully everything's going good. Hopefully everything's going well for you guys. All right, brothers, we're gonna listen to this woman talk, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on this. Let's check this out.
I love how we've been bringing awareness to predators and making all these dudes feel weird. But can we take a second and talk about the dudes who rejected our fast asses when we was younger? Cause me myself, I chased the dude down for a whole year before he put me in my place. When I was like 12 or 13, I had a huge crush on this grown man who lived upstairs. He was like 19, 20, and I was not shy about it. I went out my way to get this grown man attention, which was mad hard because I only saw him coming in and out the building occasionally or when I was doing laundry. I used to put on my grownest outfit, and I mean literally one, and I used to find any reason to go downstairs and wash anything. I was doing laundry every other day, praying he was down there. Mind you, the most he ever did was say hi and bye to me, but in my young mind, I was wearing him down. Fast forward one day, we both on our way back from the grocery store. I ride his elevator, get off on his floor, and then I stand there and confess my undying love for him. He laughed right in my face and told me to take my young ass on somewhere. And I deserved that shameful elevator ride back downstairs because why would I be running behind a grown man?
All right. Anyway, brothers, I've experienced something like this. I was a girl. She was 16, 15, I believe. Uh, in my old neighborhood, we saw her. She was very well built. Me and my homeboy, we saw two girls, so we go to approach her, talk to them. All right, she was young. Her homegirl, which I believe was a sister, was older. So my homeboy, he was cool. And but yeah, I was talking to her. I'm like, yeah, how old are you? And she's like, I think she said she was 15 at the time. I was like, oh, I said, no, no, I'm good. And she's like, she said that don't mean nothing. She's like, she said I got a kid, as if she said she got a kid, as if that would make her older. I was like, nah, I'm good, man. And I was only 24. I think I was only 24 at the time, or 23, maybe 25, maybe somewhere anywhere from 23 to 25, anywhere between there. Uh, I was like, nah, I'm good, man. She's like, and she was. I'm talking about, man. This girl was very persistent. I'm like, yo, relax. I was like, and she's like, I got a kid. I guess she didn't want to be rejected. I guess I don't know. I was like, nah, I'm good, man. I mean, she was very persistent. I said, wow. And she stayed in the neighborhood, which I didn't know. I was like, yeah, and I would see her from time to time. And I actually ended up seeing that girl. Fast forward years later, now she's a grown woman, and said I saw her. I was like, oh, what's up? Woo woo. Said whatever. I saw her because my homeboy from the neighborhood. I saw her, and I was just talking to her. Whatever. It wasn't nothing major, but she's doing good. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, women, these young women are very, she say, persistent, fast, and a lot of men turn them down. Now, a lot of people try to say like men are just predators. That's the narrative. Oh, men are predator. Brothers, I'm willing to challenge that. I'm willing to challenge that, brothers. A lot of women, I would actually say, I could be wrong, but if I had to guess, which I have to, I would bet my money it's more women predators than it are males. Yes. See, that's the narrative, brothers. Put the man out there. Iceberg Slim even was molested by a woman as a young child. Antoine Fisher. Quite a few guys have experienced this as young kids. Dealing with older women. And who you see getting caught dealing with young kids now more often than not? Women. Matter of fact, brothers, I remember reading an article damn near over 7, 8 years ago, if not more, in the Department of Corrections. Of course, those are not kids or whatever, but I think the women, it was predominantly women in the study who has had sexual misconduct with the inmates. Women guards, COs. It was like 80, 90, it was like 90 some percentile. It was high. And you would think it would be men. You would think it'd be men, male COs messing with the girls. It's more women. It's all women. In the school system, who you catch? Women. Women messing with the young kids. Women. You see what I'm saying? So don't fall for that narrative, brothers. It's always, especially you as a so-called black man, you're the bad guy. But anyway, brothers, that's all I want to point out. She said that, and you see how she's saying it, right? Cause she know a lot of women was doing it. She was doing it. A lot of girls are doing it. Brothers, I got family members who got pregnant at 12 and 13 years old. Two of them. And we talking about back in the 70s and 80s. was no 170, no 180, one in the 90s. You understand what I'm saying? Nothing new, man. Nothing new. And they weren't the only ones. Many girls, I go, maybe more now, I don't know, but they weren't the only ones that just say that. So that's nothing new. Nothing new, brothers. A lot of these women are fast, young girls are fast. And brothers, you have to be careful. Brothers, there's been many stories I've heard, many, of girls who were young and got into clubs. Matter of fact, brothers, I can go back to the late 80s as a young child, seeing some of my older cousins who were not of age getting into clubs. Going out and going to clubs. As young as 14, 15 years old at that time. Serious business. You understand what I'm saying? Serious business. It is nothing new, brothers. It is nothing new. You get a fake ID. I'm pretty sure it's probably easier to get a fake ID now. I'm telling you, brothers, it happens. I would like to think it don't happen a lot, but I think it happens more than we like to believe. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say this, brothers. Of course, they're going to say that the young girl shouldn't be held accountable. All right, whatever. Women in general is not going to be held accountable. That's how I view it. Of course, some, you get some, whatever, but, brothers, I don't look for women to be held accountable at all. And this is the message I want to give out to you, brothers. So you have to be accountable. You have to be responsible. All right? Matter of fact, KRS-One did a video, made a rap song back in the late 80s about a young girl, lying about her age. It was happening back then. I heard many stories, guys mess with girls, come to find the girl was lying. Matter of fact, one of the girls on the R. Kelly documentary admitted that she lied about her age to R. Kelly. Admitted it. So these things happen, brothers. I know, like I said, as a so-called black man, you're going to always be a creep. They're going to think all of us are creep, even though you ain't got no history of doing it. You ain't been around nothing like that. They're going to look at you as a creep. Oh, he's a pedophile, and they throw that pedophile word around. And most guys they call pedophiles do not even fit, or not pedophiles. They don't even fit it. That's guys who mess with pubescent kids, you know what I mean? They don't even fit it. Brothers, let's put it like this. Say you 35 and you mess with a girl 20 years old. You're a pedophile in their mind. That's just how they look at it. Let's say you are 40 years old and you mess with a woman 25. You're a pedophile. That's just how they're going to look at it. Hell, I won't be surprised in the near future if you're a 40-year-old man dealing with a 30-year-old woman, you're a pedophile. In their minds. In their minds. But anyway, brother, that's it. And also, I'm going to say this, brother, for all so-called black men, this is be my advice. I mean, you do what you want to do. If you're, I'll say if you're 30 and up, I don't think you should mess with no woman. I'll put it like this. If you're 35 and up, I think you shouldn't mess with no woman under 28. I would advise you not to. Why? Because how it may look, how they perceive it. And it can affect your life in other areas. I'm serious, man. Now, you do what you want to do. That's on you. You can be messing with a girl who's 18, 19 years old. That's legal, but they're going to look at you a certain way. And it can affect your life in other ways. So be very careful, brothers. Very mindful. You understand? That's all I would tell brothers, man. I would just say 28 and up. And I actually think that's a gamble. You know what I mean? Any brother 35, I think that's a big gamble to date a woman under 28. That's what I would tell. I think it's a gamble. Or I'm just saying it can have scrutiny and it can lead to other things in your life. Things that you might not think can happen. Somebody might find out about this, especially, what? And mess with you at your job, do things to hold you from doing stuff. You'll be amazed, man. But that's just my advice on that. I mean, brothers, you do what you want to do. But a lot of these young women like older men. Do not let them fool you. Do not let them fool you. It's a lot of projecting going on with women. Brothers, I see them all the time looking for older men. All the time. You know what I mean? I've experienced it. Like I said, young girls looking for older men. They always are, man. Especially once they done had kids. They always looking for older men. I ain't gonna say every last one of them, but a lot of them do. More than enough look for older men, especially once they done had kids. It's just the way it is, man. So be careful, be mindful, brothers. And I'm talking about grown women. Women who's 27, 28, and all that type of stuff, looking for older men. But like I said, even those older men that they might deal with, they're going to be looked at as pedophiles. Even though they don't fit that criteria, but that's how people look at them. What they say he's grooming and all this crazy stuff. So be very careful of that, brothers. But it's up to you, brothers. You do what you want to do, man. But anyway, but I just want to point that out, show this video. You know, these girls are fast, man. And they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Even now. It was done in the past. This girl, my family members are older than this girl. They're elder than this woman. This woman looks like she's like 30 years old, 28 years old. My elders, my family members, I'm talking about women, they 60. 60 and 40, 47, you know what I mean? Close to 50 in that age range. That happened before this woman probably was even born, the stuff that they did, you see? And they just two amongst many. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, brothers, I'm out, man. Peace.